Alexander Isak continued his magnificent scoring run as Newcastle came from behind to inflict a 2-1 defeat on Tottenham and another home loss on Ange Postecoglou's side. Stretching their winning run, this is for Newcastle in all competitions, to 6 matches. Spurs actually went ahead really early on, all thanks to Dominic Solanke, but then goals from Anthony Gordon and Isak were enough to secure all 3 points for the visitors. Spurs were adamant that Joe Linton should have been penalised for a handball in the build-up to the equaliser, but the officials deemed that the contact with Lucas Bergval's pass was accidental and that the Brazilian's arm was in a natural position. Afterwards, after the full-time whistle, Postecoglou spoke to talkSPORT's Sam Matterface, and it's fair to say things got a little bit prickly between the pair.
Ange is in the tunnel here after the defeat to Newcastle. What are your initial reflections on what was, again, an entertaining game?
Outstanding effort by the players. I couldn't be prouder of them. From start to finish, I thought our endeavour, our football, our will to try and play the way we want to, because the situation we're in was just brilliant. And on any other day, on a fair and even playing ground, we would have won that game.
What do you mean by that?
Just that we would have won that game if it was an even and fair playing ground, mate.
What was unfair about it?
I think it's pretty evident what was unfair about it.
Are you unhappy with the officials?
You don't want to have an opinion. You want to ask for my opinion. My opinion is that it wasn't an even and fair playing field. That's it.
What immediately got your goat?
Nothing got my goat. I just love the way my players played. On any other day, that performance would have got the 3 points.
I know you were animated on the touchline, but you had to deal with the fact that you had a serious illness in the camp. You brought in a rookie goalkeeper today, a back four that was eventually made up of players that were playing out of position. How difficult is it to put performances on the board like that when you've got so many issues?
It is difficult, but I don't care who was missing today. I don't care with the challenges. I love the way we played. So that's what I take away from it. And I love the attitude of the players to not make excuses and just deal with what we're dealing with. And against a very good opponent, like I said, on any other day, that would have been a really fantastic win for us as a football club. But unfortunately, it didn't happen.
You say unfortunately it didn't happen. What was lacking at the top end of the pitch?
Nothing was lacking. Our football was brilliant. Everything we did was outstanding, and we deserve to win that game. You don't want to say anything, that's fine. You want me to say something, I'm not. I'm just telling you that today we deserve to win.
Okay, you've got a big Carabao Cup semi-final on Wednesday night. How difficult is it going to be with all the absences?
Well, we'll just go out there and play our football like we did today, and hopefully the playing ground's a lot fairer and more even on Wednesday night.
Only one win in the last 8 Premier League games. How concerning is that?
I love the way we play today, mate. Love the way we play.
Thank you very much. It's Ange Postecoglou, who is joining, and he's not very happy with me because he thinks I'm sitting on the fence there, Adrian. But my job is to ask the questions, and he sort of answered them.
Interesting. He answered them but didn't answer them because he kept repeating this even and fair playing field, and obviously Sam Matterface had every right to probe what he meant by that. Didn't clarify it. I guess we all can assume that he's referring to the handball that was part of that build-up to that Anthony Gordon goal. If we start with that particular moment then, if that is what really upset Ange Postecoglou, is he right to be angry?
Well, it's a coin flip decision. And I've said this numerous times. When you get to coin flip decision time, if it goes for you, great. If it doesn't, you have to accept it and take it on the chin. It was one of them incidents that many people say definite handball. Yes, it should have been cancelled off or chalked off the goal. And there'll be others will know it isn't. I don't know how to answer something when you get coin flips, and this is essentially what it is, how you see it. We have to be brave enough to go, do you know what? If that's the decision, I can accept it. And we're going to talk about decisions, obviously, in another way about the Arsenal one later in the show. But to me, it wasn't no more than that. And to make up such a big deal out of a decision was odd in itself.
Yes. Look, it's one of those when it goes...
What did you think it was
listen,
handball,
if you're going by the letter of the law, then it's not going to be deemed a handball to chalk off a goal, because as we know, the law now states the only way a goal is chalked off with a handball is if it's directly influencing a goal in the sense of the goal scorer.
Yeah.
So It's one of those, when it's your team and it goes against you, you're annoyed.
Furious.
And if it's for your team, you think,
Yeah.
well, that's part of it's fine. It's all the letter of the law. They've
Yeah.
followed it correctly. So I can understand why Ange Postecoglou is annoyed by it, just because essentially it has hit Joe Linton's hand and they've gained an advantage from that, and then they've gone on to score. But it's not intentional, and again, I know that's not going to be part of the law. I don't think Joe Linton has much to say about it. It's hit so the distance between
yard and a half away.
Yeah,
and
so,
it's at pace.
Yeah, so I don't think, in that sense, I can sort of see why you wouldn't give it as a handball anyway, because he's not put his arms outstretched. They're quite close to his body, so it's quite natural. But like I say, if I was a Spurs fan this morning, I would be annoyed by it, because you're just going to be annoyed by it. But then again, that goal came in the 6th minute, so there was plenty of time for Tottenham to still get into the game.
And obviously, it leads to the goal, which is it counteracts, and they get Tottenham. They get Spurs quite quickly, and Gordon finishes it really well. But I don't really have that big of an issue with that decision. No. Some of the things that were said afterwards were odd. And we're just fantastic today. I watched the game because I got to the Crystal Palace Chelsea game.
Yes.
That was live at 12:30. So I watched the game. Were they fantastic? I could say you were really proud of being hit by injury and illness, that a lot of players stepped up and done well in the game. Were they fantastic? No. Were certain players really good? I thought Solanke led the line brilliantly in a real great battle with Dan Burn and others at the back, for Newcastle. I thought he led the line. Timo Werner was literally anonymous and stayed on to 60-odd minutes. I thought the boy Bergvall in midfield looked really well, looked good on the ball. They obviously struggled at the centre-half position because they're not centre-halves, because Spence went in there after...
Dragazin went off.
Yeah, Dragazin went off. So there was lots of things. Were they brilliant and fantastic? No, I wouldn't go that far at all.
I mean, if you look at the stats, it does point to a fair game, really. I mean, Tottenham did have a better share of the ball possession, but in terms of goal attempts, not really much in it. In terms of shots on target, exactly the same. So, and my friend...
They could have got a draw.
Yeah, my friend Claire Tomlinson was at the game, and I was speaking to her afterwards, and she was saying, you know what, yes, we've lost the game, but I came away all right from it, thinking we played all right, we played well. We've just got a few problems at the back. Again, like we've just mentioned, someone going off injured. You've got a makeshift defence once more in terms of your centre-half pairings. But it wasn't a disaster, shall we say, like some other results that we've seen from Tottenham. That being said, we should have a word on Newcastle, who a little over a month ago, Cass, looked a little bit all out of sorts, struggling to make anything happen. But now you look at them, they scored 18. They are unbeaten in their last 5, won all 5 as well. They are just growing from strength to strength.
Yeah, Dan Burn was brilliant yesterday. One of his best performances in a Newcastle shirt. I think the front three are just a handful. Gordon was a handful all afternoon. Isaac, always available, always trying to get in positions. Could have had another goal. Yes, he gets a bit fortunate with the goal he did get. I thought Murphy was a problem with his pace. There were front three that just offer a lot of different things. So they'll cause many defences problems. So, yeah, Newcastle, and defended for their life on so many times, because the game was pretty even. You know, like what we're talking about. You know, Tottenham did do well in the game in periods, but Newcastle are a handful of a team. Yeah,
and what's really clicking as well right now is that midfield. I mean, they're clicking all over, but when I saw them at Brentford not that long ago, prior to this run that they've gone on, and obviously they lost that game 4-2, they had an anonymous midfield. Admittedly, Tonali didn't start in that game, but Tonali with Grimmaris, Joe Linton, it just seems to be clicking now in midfield.
Bit of everything there.
Yeah, lots going well for them.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.